Tara Hitchcock. You're watching a special on-location edition of Harkins Theaters Behind the Screens. We are sitting at Clark Kent's desk. I don't think he'd mind if I use his glasses. We had such a great time coming out here to talk about the highly anticipated Superman movie from director James Gunn, and Harkins had a chance to sit down with the entire cast, including David Corenswet, Rachel Brosnahan, and Nicholas Hoult. Take a look.
Let's try this and see if it all works out.
James Gunn called you a square, pretty much.
He's just talking shit about me over there, isn't he?
Well, he said that, and here were the examples he gave. Your love of swing and jazz. So I'm curious, based on those metrics, what do you think is the squarest thing about your co-stars?
Oh, great question. I think about Rachel, the squarest thing about her is that she doesn't think that she's funny. She has this wonderful innocence about her where she thinks that she's that she's just been playing an imposter all those years on Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and she's in fact quite charming and funny and intelligently funny, sort of a savvy humor. And then about Nick, the squarest thing about Nick is that he's a wonderful and loving father, and I don't think that that's.
What a square.
What a
And square is good.
But you don't always think about that when you think of a brilliant actor who's committed to his craft and a fantastically charming movie star, that he'll also be the most, down to earth and playful and loving and present father. And it was lovely to see him and to get to meet his kids.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Say daddy instead of father.
Because it's father's square and daddy's more modern. Again, James said you had to work on your shoulders and vulnerability, so
Yes,
I'm
that was a good
curious,
line.
what did you have to work on to play Lex?
Just be evil. Pure evil. Cold. Horrible. I'd never been evil before in my life, so I was like, oh, how does this work?
This is foreign to me.
No, interestingly, talking to James after some of our first rehearsals, it was something where he's got such a great sense of the overall script and story and where each character fits into that. It was something where we went and did some little private rehearsals, me and him, where he was like, okay, let's figure out the energy that Lex is entering this story with. And so it was kind of a relentless rage and pushing forward this momentum that Lex was carrying. That was something I kind of had to work on, I think, for this character, yeah.
Rachel, how about you? What did you have to work on, if anything?
Definitely. I mean, the truth is that when I first read James's script, I was like, I think as somebody who tends to be drawn to characters that are really far away from me, this might be the closest to myself I've ever played, which was an absolutely horrifying thought. And then I wanted to figure out what I didn't understand about her. Journalism is a world, obviously we've interacted with journalists for many years, but it's a world that's brand new to me, and I really wanted to understand what makes an investigative journalist tick, and especially in a moment where print journalism is an art form under siege, why this Lois, this does take place today in 2025, why she's so passionate about print journalism and what keeps her going every day. And so I had the opportunity to speak to a handful of journalists who helped fill me in.
I love the peek into somebody's space, somebody's home, and we get a chance to see your apartment. You get a chance to see his bedroom wall when you go back to Kansas. What was on your bedroom wall growing up? Did you have posters? What was on your wall?
I'm trying to think of my childhood bedroom, but I can't. The first poster I remember getting is a poster for Hot Fuzz, which is my favorite movie, and I ripped that thing to shreds, carrying it from bedroom to bedroom. Yes.
Didn't see that coming.
Didn't see that coming. I like that. How about you? What was on your wall? I saw you look at Nicholas, so you must know.
Well, you looked like you were thinking really deeply about what was on your wall.
Oh, yeah. No, I just remembered I had this phase where I thought I was like Banksy. And I started getting
Coloring
stencils and painting stuff on my walls.
I also drew and carved into all of my walls.
Yeah. Creative, nice.
Yeah.
I ripped a picture out of J14 magazine of Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit fame.
You talk about
and
him a lot.
I was really into Fred. Yeah. And I had a picture of him on my wall, and my mother was horrified, and so she gave me a framed photo of Prince William to put next to him. I'm half British.
To balance.
She was just like, why don't you love Prince William and Harry too? But yeah, William and Fred Durst shared my wall for a while.
This is the Dairy Queen Superman Blizzard that they brought to set today, and I was eating it as you walked in, and I will stop now because it's not fair to you, but it's delicious.
This is how James Gunn does his interviews. He just eats on camera.
Like, time to take off. Yeah.
I read an interview you told David, he's talked about it too, that he had to work on his shoulders and his vulnerability.
That's right.
What did you have to work on before doing this?
You know, not my shoulders, but my vulnerability. I think it was, you know, coming into this project, I normally write about characters that are very edgy and, you know, oftentimes mean characters that, like, little by little we whittle down and we find something beautiful there, you know, whether it's Rocket or Star-Lord or Peacemaker or whomever. In this movie, it was a much different story. It's about a guy who really is good. He's got flaws like anybody. But at the end of the day, he just wants to help people and save people, and you know, and be a good person, and that's coming from such a different place for me that I had to reorient myself towards storytelling.
Has it made you softer? Or were you always kind of soft?
I've always been a balance of soft and hard.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I'm very tough. Like I'm very, you know.
You get things done.
I get things done when I'm working, and so I'm always like that. But I'm also pretty sensitive, yeah, and that is probably more sensitive than Superman. But then again, he's probably more sensitive about social networking than I am.
Well, that's just it. It's interesting you bring that up. I wanted to ask you about that. Social media plays a role on several levels in this film, whether
Yeah.
it's Ma trying to figure out how to FaceTime with her son, or there are other ways it comes into play. What is your relationship with social media?
It is a long and torrid affair with social media. I love it, and I love how it gives me a connection to fans who otherwise would not have that connection. Something I didn't have as a kid, being raised in Manchester, Missouri, and having no sense of any of this type of entertainment industry being a real thing, just feeling very magical and distant and otherworldly. But also, you know, a lot of it devolves into this sort of anger or fighting for no reason, you know. And so I don't love that part of it.
Speaking of anger and fighting, one of, I think, the most heartbreaking scenes is the one between Lois and Superman, where she's doing the interview, and it crosses this line of, oh no, she went. It was just a heartbreaking scene, and I would love you to talk about kind of the subtle shift between, I'm going to interview you, we'll be okay, to, oh, now it's getting uncomfortable, and oh no, this could affect their relationship.
Yes. Well, I mean, I think I loved writing that scene because it's about so many things. It's about their personal philosophies. You know, she's very utilitarian. He's very, you know, idealistic. It's really about their relationship. And it's about, everybody has that time early in a relationship where, you know, you have the other person with you and you sort of fill in all the boxes you don't have it filled in yet. And they're perfect because they have all the same beliefs as you. And then you hit that point where you go, oh my God, we have some core beliefs that are very different from each other. And that's really what it's like. It's that point. They've been together for 3 months. They aren't boyfriend, girlfriend yet. But she and he are both starting to see there's a really big difference in the way we look at the world. And is that something that's going to make us stronger because of our differences? Or is it going to be something that's going to tear us apart? So I just found it, you know, real. You know, I just wanted to be something that is, you know, seeing a superhero and his girlfriend in a relationship that is as real as possible. We don't get to see that very much. I don't think there's ever been a 10-minute interview talking scene in any superhero movie ever. Yeah. So it was a lot of fun to do. And then we shot that on our first 2 days shooting in Atlanta. And so it's 10% of the movie we're shooting in 2 days. And it was just such a relief because Rachel and David were so good in the scene.
You have done justice to your dog by honoring him in a film that is a blockbuster.
He appreciates it zero. My dog doesn't care. I was just in the Philippines, and he's on the side of every bus in the Philippines. And I'm like, Ozu doesn't care that he's on these buses.
You know what he'd like? That Dairy Queen thing.
Yeah,
he might not be the best for him, but
he would give all of his fame up for this Dairy Queen blizzard.
Wear my trunks on the outside of my pants, like it's liberating.
I'm so fortunate to be here with the Justice Gang working title.
Yeah,
What would be a better title?
I mean, it's going to be the Justice.
Probably
League
anything
or
else.
Justice
Yeah, anything else
Society.
would work. The Justice Group.
Yeah.
The Justice Theys. The Justice.
Day.
The Justice.
Justice Day.
Just us?
Just us.
Yeah.
Just us.
I'm just happy to be
That's
included.
good.
That's all, you know?
That's true. Part of the.
Happy to be included.
I'm just along for the ride.
I'm just
happy-
lumping you in.
Yeah, I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, we just needed some variety in like heights, hair.
I'll get to the hair in just a second because I couldn't get past Nathan's hair.
Has its own trailer, by the way.
Yeah, it has its own trailer. His wig has its own trailer. Yeah, ask James.
Nathan's doing press in one room. The hair's doing, they don't always get along.
I don't.
I struggled with my relationship, to be honest, with that hair.
What is this?
I know that James has talked about how when he cast David, he told him he needed to work on his shoulders and his vulnerability. What did you all need to work on? Or were you told to work on anything in particular?
They've been working on me since before I was born. James has been creating babies to become actors for so long now. And he wanted someone really short with a lot of anger that could really portray this traumatized individual who carries all of her past lives with her.
What were you told to work on, or what did you have to work on?
The character has 14 PhDs, the smartest guy in the universe. They said, read a book.
Read one book.
Just one. Just read one book if you want to be convincing on any level as this character. This character hasn't been portrayed in live action that many times, so we pretty much had free reign to do whatever we wanted to do in terms of physically. But, you know, you're in a superhero movie. You want to feel like you can save people. So I trained.
How about you? Were you told to work on anything? Your character, I just want to hug you, but I'm so far away in this interview.
No, I get it. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
I don't think I was told to work on anything, but if anything, I think James was just like, get ready. And in a sense of, you know, it's just kind of like prepare for torture in a way, because, you know, the makeup process and the suit itself it's no joke. It's very intense, and it's a lot. If you're claustrophobic, you're gonna have a difficult time. But yeah, you know, that kind of like meditation and ability to kind of just focus and do the scenes made it all worth it.
How much glue involved?
So much glue.
So much
Probably
glue.
still just
I had to make sure I knew the world.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't a big comics fan, and I knew how important it is to people. So I wanted to make sure that I knew the pathology of who Perry White is.
How long did that take? I feel like that was weeks of research.
It was. And, you know, then I called some people who I knew were fans, and, you know, they said, make sure you know this, make sure you know that. One of the most interesting things I found was the fact that Lex Luthor had an affair with my wife, Perry White, and my second child may be his.
I smell a sequel.
Yep.
Just at Harkins Theaters, maybe in 2 years. I love how on this press tour, David and the gang, they've been doing these little TikToks where he does nice things for people. And what's the nicest thing David Cornsweet has done for each of you?
David's a sweetheart, man.
He is. I'd say that the first day I was on set, he came over and introduced himself and made me feel very comfortable. You know, even though he's this like huge presence and he's Superman, he just was very down to earth and kind and welcoming.
He is Superman in that way.
He is Superman.
And from that first time we sat down, he was just the normalest guy. And we like talked for hours, and yeah, he's just the man.